Hi, in this video I'm going to go over the questions for Prep Test 28 Game 2. Alright, so just to catch us up on the setup quickly, we've got 4 researchers, G, H, L, and P. They're going to learn between 1 and 3 languages, R, S, T, and Y. So we can make a nice grid here. Okay. One researcher learns Rundi, 2 each learn S and T, and 3 learn Y. If the linguist or the paleontologist learns a language, then the geologist can't. If the geologist learns a language, then the linguist can't, and neither can the paleontologist. If the geologist learns a language, the historian will also learn it. So if the historian doesn't learn a language, the geologist can't. So key here is seeing that the geologist learning a language means that exactly 2 of the researchers will learn that language, G and H, and L and P will not. So that means the geologist can't learn Rundi because we know that exactly 1 researcher in total would learn that language, and that wouldn't be possible if the geologist learned it. The geologist would have to learn one of these 2 languages, can't learn Yoruba, and because Yoruba is learned by exactly 3, everybody else has to learn it. So this is our starting position, if we get the setup right. Then question 6 is a could be true question, and we can do some kind of process of elimination here, eliminating the ones that are not possible. So typically with these, we're looking for rule breakers. With this, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. You're going to want to have some deductions like we have here before going into the first question for this game. So is it possible for the linguist to learn 3 languages, R, S, and T? That's going to be a problem because if L learns a language, G can't, and G has to learn at least 1 language. So the linguist learning S and T is going to be a problem. We also know that the paleontologist learning S and T would be a problem. So A and E are logically equivalent answers, and they're both wrong. Okay, because L and P both have the same relationship to G and to the rest of the rules. If we look at B, the linguist learning 3 languages, once again, if it learns S and T, there's nothing left over for G to learn. C, the historian learning 3 languages, these 3. So the historian can learn a language without the geologist having to learn it. The historian learning a language is just a consequence if the geologist learns that language. They don't have to learn exactly the same languages as each other. And actually that would never work for any solution because we know the historian learns Yoruba and the geologist does not. So the historian learning these 3 isn't going to be a problem. L and P can still learn languages learned by the historian. So yeah, that would be okay. Let's see. So one of those, okay, so, oh, no, sorry, my bad. We know already that the historian learns Yoruba. Oh, sorry, chicken. Sorry, I have my bird out, so it's a little bit distracting. Excuse me. Yeah, I know, chicken. I know, baby. There. Little parrot. Okay. I know, baby bird. Little goof. You little goof. Yeah. You goofy bird. You're very cute. Okay, so yeah, R, S, T, and Y, that would be 4 languages, but each of the researchers has a maximum of 3, right? At least 1, and at most 3. So that's why we can't have C. So D has to be the correct answer. S, T, and Y would be possible for the historian. That's totally fine. Okay, let's keep moving. Question 7. If the linguist learns 3 of the languages, okay, so the linguist would have to learn R, Y, and one of these two. The reason it can't learn both of these is, again, because the geologist would need to learn one. So it must be true that the linguist learns Rundi. B. A and C are things that are possible, but don't have to be true. And the linguist learning 3 of the languages isn't going to have any impact on what the paleontologist needs to learn. Question 8. Each of the following could be true of the researcher who learns Rundi, except that researcher also learns T but not S. That would be fine. The researcher learns neither T nor S. That would also be fine. The researcher also learns T but not Y. That's going to be a problem. So whoever learns R definitely also learns Y. So C is the correct answer. Question 9. Each of the following could be a complete and accurate list of the researchers who learn both Swahili and Yoruba, except. So the geologist can't be on the list. Let's see, who learned both? Could you have both these guys learn it? Don't see anything wrong with that. The historian being the only one who learns both. Also don't see anything wrong with that. The historian and the linguist, the historian and the paleontologist, those are logically equivalent to each other. Just the paleontologist learning S and Y. The linguist could learn that. The historian. So we would have a problem with that because we need to have 2 players learn Swahili. If the historian learns it, then the geologist could also learn it, and the geologist doesn't learn Yoruba. So A would work because we could have, so I'll switch to pencil here, we could have 2 check marks here, and historian would still be the only one who learns S and Y. But if we have the paleontologist be the only one that learns these 2, then that means that H and L can't learn it. But if the paleontologist learns something, the geologist can't learn it. So that's going to be an issue where we don't have enough researchers learning Swahili. So B is the correct answer for question 9. Okay, so one way to kind of test these things out is to go in with pencil and then you can erase it afterwards. So yeah, that's just one method that I would use. Go B for question 9. Question 10. If the geologist learns exactly 2 of the languages, the geologist would have to learn both S and T. So what would that look like? Okay, if the geologist learns something, the historian does as well. The historians reach their max. Only one of these 2 would learn Rundi, and neither of them could learn Swahili or Tigrinya because if G learns something, then L and P do not. So the only thing that could possibly change would be which one of these 2 learns Rundi. So it could be true that the paleontologist learns it. So A could be true. B, no, the paleontologist can't learn Swahili. The historian can't learn Rundi because then we've maxed out on the number of languages H can learn. The paleontologist learns exactly 3 of the languages. Nope, because the paleontologist can't learn S or T. The historian learns exactly 2 of the languages. No, the historian has to learn both of the languages that the geologist learns, and also has to learn Yoruba. So yeah, A is the correct answer for question 10. Question 11, which one of the following must be true? So fewer of the languages are learned by the historian than by the paleontologist. That doesn't have to be true. We've shown that here. Fewer of the languages are learned by the geologist than are learned by the historian. That does have to be true. So everything the geologist learns, the historian also has to learn, and the historian will always learn at least one more than the geologist, because the historian learns Yoruba and the geologist does not. So B is the correct answer for question 11. Question 12. If exactly 2 of the languages are learned by the historian, so 2 languages learned by the historian would be Yoruba and either S or T. The reason I say that the historian has to learn either S or T is because one of those must be learned by the geologist. Those are the only options that the geologist has left that they could learn. So the historian therefore does not learn Rundi. So either L or P does, and whichever language here is being learned by the geologist, L and P can't learn it. So this could be Tigrinya or not. The geologist would only learn one language. Yeah, okay, let's go into the question. So the paleontologist does not learn Rundi. No, it's possible for the paleontologist to learn Rundi. Okay, so that doesn't have to be true. The geologist does not learn Swahili. The geologist could learn Swahili. That's still possible. The linguist does not learn Rundi. That is possible, but doesn't have to be true. So similar to A. The historian does not learn Rundi. Yes, that does have to be true. If the historian learns exactly 2 languages, one of those languages it has to have in common with the geologist, because anything the geologist learns, the historian does as well, and the geologist does learn at least one language. So D is the correct answer. And the paleontologist does not learn Swahili. It's possible that the paleontologist learns Swahili and the geologist and historian learn Tigrinya instead of Swahili. Okay. Hi, chicken. All right, so that's it for the questions for this video, or for this game, sorry. And if you have any further questions, please let me know. I'm sorry, I realized about halfway through that I was mumbling a bit, so the audio might not be great. I'm really sorry about that. I'll try to do better next time. Okay, thanks. Bye.